Howdy y'all, Rafame here. Doing a little bit of a different kind of video today. In my playthrough, I ran into some QuickSell items and they're pretty new in the game. I got to digging around looking for information on them. I'm going to look this data up for myself. I might as well present it in a YouTube video. I'm going to go through the inventory of QuickSell items, look at the in-game information about them, discuss my thoughts on it a little bit. I'll be splitting this into two different videos. This one will focus on weapons. The next will probably be all on equipment. So the wiki is a good resource for this sort of thing, especially to look at tabular data or something like that. I'm just going to stick to the in-game data cards here. There should be a card in the upper right now that leads you to the wiki. So I've loaded up some of the ballistic items and the comparison points with the standard version of the item. So we can look at those first. The first item up is a AC-10 BB5X. It's a recoil of 3, whereas the original only has a recoil of 1. Damage is the same, has a little bit more heat. Not much in the way of a redeeming factor here. It's got a jam recoil chance, so overall it's just simply worse. Next up are the double ACs. We've got 2 through 20, with most of them having, for comparison, the Inner Sphere Ultra, but the AC2 I threw the clan version up here since it would fit better. You can see the size, weight, and heat match up with what the clan version is, whereas the Inner Sphere version heavier and slightly lower heat, although being autocannon is not that big of a deal. With these you do get a misfire chance. It can be mitigated and it varies from version to version, so as you increase in size the misfire chance increases as well. This is a misfire chance, so you misfire the weapon more than a couple of times and it's going to blow up. They always fire 2 shots and they hit or miss with both of them, so it's all or nothing. They're interesting, but that misfire chance makes me hesitant to use them. There are also QuickSell ammunition bins for autocannons. There's a pair of QuickSell bins for each size of cannon. You've got a single bin and a double bin marked value. You get a few extra shots per ton. You do have a 10% lower average damage output and introduces a 40% plus or minus variance. That's a pretty substantial variance, and you would notice that. You would wind up with a boom or bust type situation where that you may hit the target and do very little damage compared to what you were expecting from the cannon size. That could be a big problem with a big ballistic where that you're already potentially suffering from some recoil effects. So yeah, I'd probably pass and go for the more constant damage, especially early on when you can't hit every shot. Here I've got the primitive rotary rifle collection set up. You can see you've got a rotary rifle for each of the classes of primitive rifle. All of them are 2x the weight of the primitive rifle, except for the heavy, which is slightly less than that. It's only 12 tons. So these can make for a pretty decent option to get into a rack style fighting mode pretty early, especially the heavy. That 12 tons shooting 120 damage, even if you can only deal it every other round. That's pretty substantial, and I would definitely use these. I'm also a fan of the regular rifles, especially the medium rifle. You do have to have the ammo installed in the same location, and you do have the minus 25 damage to armor modifier, but you get sabot rounds and improve that substantially. So that can be viable. Also set up is the Gauss rifle, Gauss being in quotes. It takes AC2 ammo. You fires 2 at once as a single projectile. Has a pretty substantial damage and stability fall off at long range, but you do get to use AC2 ammo, so that improves your situation on ammo pretty substantially. A normal Gauss bin holding 8 rounds, whereas this holds 30 that you shoot 2 at a time, so 15 rounds in a single ton. Then you can also use specialty ammo. There's generally in RogueTech, if there's no marker indicating that it doesn't stack, it stacks. So you can use these specialty ammo types. You just have to work a little more closely than you would with a more traditional Gauss rifle. Yeah, it's usable. It's interesting. Now I have 3 handheld items. I have the Long Tom, Sniper, and Thumper one-shot artillery pieces. A very interesting concept. They're 3, 4, and 6 tons. It's one of those things, if you had an empty slot on the Mac, you might as well use it if you got the tonnage and an empty slot. Yeah, it's very, very cool. I've pulled up what's probably the best item in the catalog from QuickSell, as best I can see it. These machine guns are great. Yeah, they come with ammo pre-stocked. They're the same weight as the regular machine gun. They do have a higher jam chance, but for the way I tend to use machine guns, that really doesn't matter because I want all of them at once right now. May let them rest for a couple of rounds. So this suits me just fine. Yeah, I think definitely grab any of those I see on the battlefield. Here I have the QuickSell laser lineup. We'll start with the Rex lasers. These are re-engineered X lasers. You basically have an X pulse laser with an extra recoil and a worse damage fall off. In exchange, you do get the re-engineered lasers, higher damage output for armor, and lower damage dealt to structure. It's a little bit wider band than on the re-engineered laser as well. So some ways of thinking that could be good because you don't want to destroy the underlying structure. You just want to perhaps cut out the parts inside. Also, that damage fall off, if you were going to do a X-Pulse build, you would go into it knowing you need to maintain that optimal range. So yeah, overall pretty decent lasers. This is the OBX Large Laser QuickSell. It's more or less a large pulse laser. It fires 6 shots instead of 3, and it gains a bonus against VTOLs and a bonus to crits. Weighs 2 tons less, but takes up 2 extra slots. Has recoil 2 and puts off some extra heat compared to a regular large pulse laser. Overall, it's a pretty decent weapon. I think I would probably use it. It also has a line of chemical lasers. These are heavy chemical lasers. They weigh twice as much as the standard chemical laser in the class. They have twice the damage because they shoot twice the ammo. They fire 2 rounds of ammo in the same shot. So you end up with something that's very akin to the approved heavy laser because there's not the accuracy penalty you get on a regular heavy laser. The form factor does change. So for the small and the medium, they're the same size, fits into a single slot. But for the large, you increase up to the full 3 slots, the same as the large heavy laser. Overall, pretty good option still. Much cooler than the equivalent full-size, full-on improved heavy laser. Good stuff. Streak PPCs, like all streak weapons, only fire on a hit, but they have much higher heat and more slots and weight. The heat increase is enough to fire the standard version another shot. There's nothing that is a complete deal breaker, but the heat is massive on the heavy version. The heavy PPC QuickSell has damage buildup, meaning you need to shoot at longer ranges to get more damage. Lower heat, but higher recoil than the standard or risk versions, and 1 extra slot. This could be useful in the classic Gauss and PPC combo for a long range build, but the added recoil would require recoil mitigation on a build that might otherwise not have it. Rounding out the QuickSell PPC lineup is the LBX PPC. It has a large increase in heat and 2 extra slots compared to a standard PPC. These increases are not made up for with a marginalized increase in damage. Crit chance and accuracy bonuses are largely offset by a recoil of 4. Overall, I would probably pass if a standard version was available. The QuickSell Streak SRMs are another one of these schemes with 2 ammo fired per shot, but they only actually shoot the individual shots that would hit like a Streak Mark II. Standard SRM ranges instead of the extended streak ranges and the weight of the inner sphere streak. None of the evasion ignore and bonus accuracy of streak launchers, and it does have a little bit more heat, especially in the larger launcher. All in all, it's not very bad. I would certainly use them. There's also a QuickSell SRM-10. I didn't put its stats up here. It's exactly the same as SRM-6, except for instead of 6 missiles doing 10 damage each, 10 missiles doing 6 damage each. Other than that, it's basically the same. It's sort of a neutral item. It could be some advantage if you were facing AMS. Neither here nor there, really. QuickSell LRM launchers have clan versions, weight, slots, and no min range. In exchange for that, you do suffer a -3 to accuracy, inner sphere levels of damage, and you get clan levels of heat. Would require a lot of launchers and ammo to make up for that accuracy penalty with volume of fire. It's interesting. I haven't bit the bullet and tried it in my campaign because of the -3 accuracy. I already suffer enough trying to hit things. For some, it might be okay. And rounding out the QuickSell weapon list, we've got the Laser AMS. This Laser AMS deals 4 damage to missiles. That's as much as the Laser AMS clan in overload mode, but it only fires 6 times per activation. It does have a very good chance to hit, though, at 70% compared to the 30s or 40s of other options. Another additional bonus is that it doesn't jam. There's no jam chance involved, and it takes up only a single slot. So it's a pretty good option. If you could put multiple of these on the field in an area of protection, you would be pretty well protected. Even multiples on the same mech. Yeah, I would probably use it. That's going to wrap up my take on the QuickSell line of weapons. Let me know what you think about this video. I've not seen much content like this out there for RogueTech. Not opposed to making some more of it if there's an interest in it. Yeah, like the video and subscribe, and I'll see you back for the next video.